it's time to get down to the nitty-gritty. It's time to just rip the Band-Aid off and get straight to the point. Goodbye forever. GOTG is done officially forever and ever. From this space.
Oh yeah, from this space.
Yeah!
Clickbait! We got you!
Hook, line, and sinker!
This is our last video that we are going to film and put out in this game room. So this is the final farewell tour.
Yeah.
It's been a long time coming. We've been in here for freaking 5.5 years, but we're building a new space. That's going to be a separate video and all that stuff, but we wanted to kind of cement this one more time.
Yeah.
Game room tour.
Well, I think there's a lot of new folks that follow the channel. I know there are from the last time. So the last game room tour we did, not a lot has really changed. A little bit has. Yeah. But we only had like 5,000. That was our 5,000 sub celebration. So by the time it came out, we probably had a little bit more. But we're right on the heels of 40,000 subs. And I think there's a lot of folks who have joined that maybe didn't catch that video. This will be a little bit more of an express lane version of a game room tour.
Because there is stuff that we've already started to move.
Yeah.
Secret time.
Yeah.
Like all the closet stuff's gone, so we won't dive into that. And we'll kind of do it a little bit faster. If you want super detail, maybe check out the old video.
Yeah.
But there is stuff that has changed and evolved, but it's mostly the same room. We just wanted to cement it one more time because after we're done filming this, we're going to start taking stuff off the walls, and stuff is going to be gone, and then this room's going to be a bedroom.
And then eventually you'll get a new game room tour with the new upgraded space.
I'm excited.
But for one last time, let's take a ride through the Gaming Off the Grid studio / game room. Shooing!
Alright, we're going to start on my side of the room this time because it's the cooler side of the room. This originally was a Super Nintendo themed side of the room. We got the Super Nintendo guidebooks, Super Nintendo console, but then it slowly evolved just into my favorite things, which I love. We got Dr. Mario. I got a bunch of copies of that because I love that game. We got Rubber Ducks. I collect those. Little figures like Mace Windu, Star Wars. We got Dumb and Dumber figures, Yoshi. We got an Office Snow Globe, which is so fantastic. We also have, on this side of the wall, 2 signed photos of Jake the Snake Roberts, my favorite wrestler of all time. We got one here and one above me. We had the pleasure of meeting him, and it was fantastic. He's such a cool guy. He's really funny. And we got Tony Hawk. We got the Crypt Keeper. This is a really funny addition to the game room that was not in our last game room tour. We found this at a garage sale, and one night when we were in here and we were, had a few beers, we were like, dude, how funny would it be if we hung him on the Castlevania poster? We thought the idea was hilarious, so we did it, and it's still funny. I think it's so stupid. And also, Crypt Keeper, Tales from the Crypt, we did an early series early on when we started the channel, so it kind of ties to that.
Castlevania. Those of you who have been watching Gaming Off the Grid for many years have seen a poster in the background of this exact video game cover behind Robert on his side. I think we took it to the next level. What do you think?
We got over here the NES NECA figures. These are freaking badass. Contra, Terminator, Alien, RoboCop. Freaking fantastic. Below me, behind my chair, which you can't really see because I cover it in all the shots, but that's where we got like our overflow of games because this main shelf is super full. That's where we had our PS2 games, our Wii games. That's where we have like extra consoles and all that stuff. And then getting over to the center of the room, which you guys see in every video, is our games. It's not all of them because we have so many games. We got NES, Super Nintendo, Genesis. It kind of goes chronologically from when they were released. And then up here is PS1, Dreamcast. At the bottom is PS2 games, which overflows into this shelf. It's badass.
Over on my side, I know Robert said his side was the cool side. My side's the nostalgia side. This is all stuff from when I was a kid, I feel like, for the most part, and I feel like I'm at home when I'm over here. I've got my original official Nintendo Player's Guide. That is me and my brother's copy from when we were little kids. An autographed picture from Mike Tyson. We've got CIB NES consoles, CIB NES games, Game Boy case, the one that I had from when I was a kid. Well, a rebuy of the one that I had as a kid. That's a long story. And you get into the games, which Robert has already covered a little bit, but there is not an episode that goes by where folks don't ask about these custom game cases. And we have a whole entire video on these things. We'll put it up here in the thing. It's like, I don't want to repeat it. And I'm always replying to comments like, God, here's the link to the video. Here's the link to the video. We covered so much ground early in the channel that people haven't seen, and so they're asking questions. But those were a big part of making this display look really, really cool. Then over here to what would be my right, WWF magazines. These were a big part of my childhood. It's kind of getting out of the gaming space, of course, but there's a ton of wrestling games, so I don't know, maybe they're intermingled. But we got Axe and Smash's autograph. I love this one because Robert and I met them together, which was really cool.
Hey everybody, I'm Demolition Smash and this is Axe.
And you're watching Gaming Off the Grid.
And then we have a signed one by Diesel, because right before Scott Hall died, I don't know if you remember this, brother, but we met Scott Hall and Kevin Nash, and we were together and got some autographs and got a chat with them. It was really, really cool.
You got the Outsiders, Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, and if you get a chance, you need to be watching Gaming Off the Grid. Don't miss it, ever.
Up above, it's just kind of random. We have the N64 box, some CIB N64 games, like a Dennis Rodman figure way back in there. But this was a thrift store find. And you'll find that there's an element of nostalgia and an element of Robert and I are just idiots. And this guy has his original sweater on. But we thought he'd look better with a Maker's Mark Christmas sweater. And it's still, and we crossed his leg because we just thought it was funny. He has like the wire legs. And yeah, it's a pretty awesome collector's piece. It's actually worth quite a bit of money, but we decided to fuck it up and do that. Just like we took this Ultimate Warrior Hasbro, huge Hasbro collectors, pull string on the back, the whole nine, and we put a Tito's sweater on it.
It took hours.
It was horrible. It doesn't even look right because it doesn't fit, but I still, every time I see that, I laugh. Just a lot of memories over here. You know, Xbox games, you know, down through the GameCube down below. It's all of our below space storage. We have this one game shelf now. The space we're going to is going to have 3 of these, and they will be full, so it'll be nice. And then as we migrate this way, just to, again, my right, but we're rounding the room in a counterclockwise fashion as you're watching this. Some CIB consoles, random California Raisins, Primal Rage. I always loved the artwork in that game, and I found that figurine at the thrift store. Guys, most of the stuff in this game room has been gotten dirt cheap. Thrift store finds. Like, I would never buy that Primal Rage figure, but for the price, it's like $2, throw it in the game room. Pretty freaking sweet. As we move through, I've always loved this. Was a thrift store find. It holds all of our retro gaming remotes. Put a little punch out on the cover. It looks like a little CRT TV. How you doing? This Macho Man wooden Slim Jim holder. How many game rooms have one of those? But you gotta have one. And then working our way down this way is a really freaking cool shadow box I built. One of the first things I built in the game room, and I kind of rank ordered my favorite things. It's kind of in disarray because we're in the process of moving, but wrestling was a big part of my life. I got some long box Coliseum home video VHS tapes back there, some complete in box, one sealed actually, wrestling cards. There's actually some rookie cards in here that if you get them graded are worth quite a bit of money, and this is sealed, so I know they're in there, but I don't give a shit because I'm going to keep it sealed because I love it, and Ultimate Warrior's on the cover. So yeah, card collectors, take that. Moving on down the line, we got our Batman shelf. Was huge into Batman, especially the '89 Keaton movie and Batman Returns. And then, which Keaton is Batman, by the way. And then down into the Ninja Turtles. And these figures are probably, you know, I'm a huge Hasbro collector, and that's probably my favorite space when I was a kid. But when these came out, I thought these were the coolest figures ever made. These big movie Ninja Turtle figures, and they stand the test of time. They look better, in my opinion, than anything NECA has ever put out or anything. These are badass. A lot of people have those cartoon big turtles, and those are the ones that just got re-released by Playmates or whoever the hell's doing those things. But these sons of bitches are awesome, and I think I've even talked about them in other videos, but love those things. Right, moving right along, coming over here to the Hasbro figures. Again, it's a game room tour, but wrestling was a part of the childhood. It's more of a nostalgia room tour. Huge collection, very into it. We don't have a lot of CIB stuff. I do have a France version of the Warrior CIB, which is my favorite Warrior figure they came out with, and a CIB Honky Tonk Man, which came from our buddy Chris. I still have that thing, and I love it. A lot of figures through all the generations, even Bam Bam Bigelow, which is a later release. Maybe we'll do a video sometime talking about all that stuff, but there's a lot of cool ones in there. Our Arcade 1-Up, we got this really early on. Didn't know where they were going. This is one of their first releases, I believe. We bought this thing because of the variety. You know, it has Final Fight, 1944, Strider, Ghosts and Goblins. So we were like, well, shit, some of the other ones like come out and there's just Pac-Man on it. And this one's the same price, Capcom stuff. So we went with this one. Honestly, we're pretty freaking happy with it. We got a pretty good deal on it. Moving right along, a lot of CIB consoles, CIB stuff here in the back. And this is stuff that, because our room is so small, doesn't get a proper display. You know, down below is a mint CIB original Xbox. A lot of Wii and Wii U stuff on this wall that you just never sees the light of day, so it's going to be really cool to have more space to display it. But we just kind of made like a little horseshoe across the top of this window, which is covered with an NES controller blanket. So yeah, that's the reason we gotta move. We gotta have more space. We have to build a bigger game room.
And you continue this side, this is where our Switch collection is, and then below me is the Wii U collection. Again, two more collections that are overgrown and we have games stacked. We need more space, and I'm glad we're getting more space because it's gonna be nice to have all the games together. It's gonna be freaking beautiful. Wes already mentioned the console boxes, and then over here we start to get into some consoles, which is badass right below me. This is where most of the retro stuff is, kind of. We got NES and Super Nintendo over there, but this has, you know, Xbox, GameCube, freaking N64, Genesis, and then it also has all of our mini consoles. We have them all lined up at the top, which is pretty cool up here. And then we got our stereo, which is just, you gotta have a stereo, you know, you gotta be bumping that music, and we bump that music. This thing is fantastic. This is also where our switch boxes are. We got AV component switch boxes. I'm excited in the new game room. We're gonna have a bigger switch box, so we'll be able to hook more things up to the TVs. It's gonna be fantastic. And then we got some WWE Superstars retro style thing. We almost have a full set. There's a few we're missing, but this is a new addition to the game room, and these are freaking sick. I like that they're releasing these in 2023, and they're like retro inspired. That's pretty freaking badass. Behind the TV, we got the Turtles in Time posters, Zombies in My Neighbors posters. These were one of the first two things in the game room. Like, these things have been here since the beginning. They've slowly evolved, and it's just, I love them. They're fantastic.
All right, our TVs, one of the most important parts of a retro gaming setup, in my humble opinion. Not against emulation, we have mini consoles, but I do like playing things on the best option that was available at the time that they were released, which that is a problem in our current game room. Let me explain. So this bottom TV, our console Zenith TV, we run the Atari 2600, Sega Genesis, Super Nintendo, and NES on that console. That is our AV and coaxial console, if you will. Once we get up to component, we like going to our Sony Trinitron. This TV can handle light gun games. This TV cannot. Here is the problem with our game room. We do not have a modern space, so we had to get a CRT for our top TV that could also do HDMI stuff. So there are people sometimes who are like, oh, you guys are trying to be too retro. You're trying to run HDMI consoles on a CRT. What the hell's wrong with you? We don't have the room. Now, I don't want to play my NES upscaled. I would never do that. That's what this Zenith is for. I do not want to play my PS2 on HD. That's what this son of a bitch is for. But we will have a 4K HD TV for HDMI consoles moving forward. But this is our current TV setup. We sacrificed light gun games on the top TV because we had to have something to play modern stuff when we're live streaming. Across the top here, random figures, random stuff from thrift stores. Red Bull sign, why is it in here? I don't know. We both kind of like Red Bull, but it was like $2.99 at the thrift store. Why not? Yeah, this guy. Couple bucks at the thrift store. You know, you gotta have a winged eagle belt in any room that we're gonna be in. It's just kind of how it goes over here in this TV front. And then I'm gonna let Robert freaking take it from there and talk about this crazy corner.
So over here, we have a lot more consoles. This is more of our modern side, even though I already mentioned in the last clip, this is the NES and Super Nintendo over here. But then we also got a VCR combo, and this thing runs the ship over here. Everything runs through this. It's fantastic. You can play VHS, you can play Blu-ray, we can stream basically anything we want on both TVs. Flick of a button, it's fantastic. There's even times where it's like, let's watch a movie and play on both TVs. That's awesome. That's so cool. It's like Toys R Us back in the day. You know, you walk in and you're like, oh, we can do that. It's so fantastic. We got some more posters, some more knickknacks. Coming in the corner, another signed photo of Jake the Snake, accompanied by Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Signed by Jim Duggan, one of my favorite wrestlers too. Just kidding, he's not. He looks like Jim Duggan. He looks like a baby. Like he looks like a. But we met him. He's a nice guy. Pretty cool. And then we got a bunch of knickknacks, paddywhacks over here. We got our 2023 goals on this side, signed belt, some Turtles figures. And then over here, I'll let Wes talk about this wall. There's a lot of cool stuff over here. But we're approaching the end of this room is small, guys. Like, there's not much stuff in here. I'm so excited to have all this stuff kind of spread out.
The final piece of the game room tour has got to be this wall. This is on Robert's side, kind of the front side before we get to the doorway. A lot of randomness over here. Again, yes, it's a game room. It's a nostalgia room. We got Kevin McAllister. We got a macaroni box with E.T. stuffed in it. We got Buzz's girlfriend. Framed, usually is in the middle of our Christmas tree, but we didn't get a chance to put that up this year. We got the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase. We got our Game Boy games. We got all this crazy stuff. Game Boy ads framed, Ultimate Warrior out the wazoo, a CIB switch. It's a hodgepodge. Best part and newest part of this corner is this picture of Britney Spears. This was a good day. So we bought this vintage Mountain Dew backpack, like an old hiking backpack that you could get with Mountain Dew points. And in the front pouch, I can't remember if the kid's name was Davey, Kyle, Dennis, the Menace. I can't remember. But his name was on a sticky note. And it was all of his sports cards, and they were wrapped in it. There were NASCAR cards, hockey cards, baseball cards, football cards. And his mom wrote a note like, good luck at church camp. And guess what was tucked in the middle of that fucking wad of cards? That picture of Britney Spears. Let's in the comment section just fire off. Last game room tour for GOTG. Let's go. How many knuckle children do you think old Kyle fired off to that Britney Spears photo?
At church camp.
At church camp. It was packed in his Mountain Dew bag. That's a loaded question, but that's how we're going to end this thing. There you have it. It's bittersweet. It is time to say goodbye. Man, this room, a lot of great memories have been had.
We've done a lot of stuff in this room, spent a lot of freaking time of our lives.
Yeah.
Here, dude. It's absolutely wild, but I'm so excited for the new space. We've been working on it on off days. That's why the channel's been kind of slow.
It feels like for months.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Because we built a game room from scratch.
Yeah.
You know, we put up walls. We've been wallpapering. We've been doing all this.
Yeah.
We'll talk about all that stuff later.
We will.
But
we didn't put up any walls, but we are doing the finishing.
We're doing
100%
all the
ourselves, yeah.
trim. Then we got to move all this stuff. And I'm just so ready to be in the space. It's going to be a lot more space. It's going to be just, it already feels badass and nothing's in it.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be better for us and for you guys. It'll be a lot more efficient for us. We'll be able to get to filming quicker. We'll have lights mounted in the ceiling. Yeah. Live streaming. We'll have 2 different sections. But that's not about. This video is not about that. This video is about putting a final christen on this, and we don't do beer reviews as much as we used to. So I think the best way to put a bow on this final game room tour is to review the Bourbon County 2023 Banana Foster Stout.
Oh my God.
Foster's beer. Australian for beer.
This is a variant of the Bourbon County. We love Bourbon County. We've been doing Bourbon County reviews since we started the channel. So this is a stout aged in bourbon barrels with bananas, almonds, cassia bark, and natural flavors. What do you think of the Bananas Foster?
You know, they just don't mess anything up.
No.
I don't know. I think it's really good, for one. I am not pulling as much banana as I would like, but I understand that most people might find that flavor a little bit offensive.
It's a hard flavor to pull through without
but
being
I do
aggressive.
feel like it's a little creamier than the traditional Bourbon County Stout, which is making me think that banana component.
I think it helps, and then I get a lot of that vanilla almond taste. That's kind of the flavor that comes through. But almond is a great holiday flavor. You know, it's like almond bark and all that stuff. It's delicious. This is really good, and it's hard to tell because I can never remember what every year the variants are. But this is one of my favorite variants. This is like
that's what it seems like.
But I say it every year.
I know. I become a prisoner of the moment because up to this point this year, there's only been a couple stouts, and you know, truth be told, we have not done near the number of beer reviews that we traditionally have done. You know, first 550-ish episodes, there was a beer review at the end of every one. Now it's kind of maybe one out of every 10.
If that. Yeah, it's been really slow. But don't worry, we're still drinking. We're still drinking.
Yeah, we might bring it back here and there. Probably need to bring it back more, but we're just little naked boys out here trying to figure out how the YouTube algorithm works, and we see people quit watching when we review beer. But then we're like, you know what? We're going to get away with a clickbait thumbnail and a final game room tour, and we're going to do it our way.
Yep.
And that's where the Bananas Foster comes in.
The Bananas Foster, because Goose Island does it their way.
Yeah.
And it's freaking... I love that they still do this, because I feel like for them, it's a passion project, because, you know, they kind of just put out, like, their 312 IPAs, just kind of like a gas station beer. And then this is like, oh, we still know how to make craft beer.
Yeah, and I feel like they're even getting a little crazy with the Cheese Whiz every now and again, like with different variants of the
Bourbon County.
Yeah, because there's one that we're going to christen the new game room with. It'll be the first beer review we do in the new space. That is an Angel's Envy collab.
Aged
it's like a boxed.
Yeah. I don't know how you found that, but I'm excited.
We got some stuff teed up for our first few videos out of that space, but nonetheless, this is a great one. And man, I just want to cheers to you, and I want to cheers to everybody watching. As long as this video probably is going to end up being for runtime, the hardcores are here.
Yep.
And man, we've been on a crazy journey. It's been a lot of fun. It's like we're just going to start chapter 2. 5.5 years later, because we're slow readers, slow learners. But yeah, this room, you know, I just looking back on it, I am proud of our original build, though. Yes, we've outgrown the space, but from an efficiency standpoint, for a first swag at it, it's pretty
also
dialed
we
in.
didn't know, because most of the stuff was already, like, the shelf was already in here, the TVs were already there. Like, it was just kind of, and then we just kind of evolved around that.
Yeah.
And we just figured out where plugins were and ran extension cords, and it's just... we made it work, but it is so... I'm so excited because we've literally thought of, like, every detail in the new game room. Like, we have plugins here, we're going to mount strips.
We have a 4-banger plug-in in the ceiling for the studio lights.
And
Let's go.
And they're on a switch.
Yeah.
Like, that's so freaking badass. It is going to be wild not to be in here anymore, because we've just spent so much time of our lives, you know, since 2018.
Yeah.
We've been spending almost every day in this room working on content, playing video games, being stupid, being idiots, drinking beer. It's been fantastic.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to make new memories in the new room.
Yeah, for sure. It's that weird juxtaposition of super happy, and it's also super sad. That's what they call bittersweet. It just really is.
That's like Bittersweet Chocolate.
Yeah, Bittersweet Symphony.
Ooh, I think I know that song.
Yeah.
But it's going to be weird to not sit in this room and talk to the camera, but it's going to be pretty similar.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to be pretty similar.
There's going to be a lot of stuff that stays the same, because this is us. This is our thumbprint. This is our DNA. We're gonna bring that into the new space. It's just going to be bigger, better, faster, stronger. But man,
yeah, Daft Punk said that right.
Good times, good friend, good friends, great brews, great games, memories I'll never forget.
Yeah.
And I don't want to get emotional, so we're going to say thanks for tuning in and subscribing to the channel. And for one last time, we're signing off from this space
Forever.
We'll catch you on the other side.